Hello there, my name is of course Nick Dutch and I'm a professional tarot reader. One individual left a comment on one of the many videos that I did that was just inquiring about how I do a tarot reading. And so I thought what I would do is actually tell you. Okay? No, I do not pre-choose the cards for the reading. Okay, I don't. When I'm working over the telephone, it's the first few moments when, I've got the phone under my head like this, between my shoulder and my head, and I'm saying to the client, "Hi there, you're through to Nick today, how can I help you?" That's when I'm starting to shuffle. Okay? The idea is to shuffle thoroughly whilst you're thinking about the question, whilst you're contemplating the question. Not necessarily concentrating on it the way that you would try and do the kind of like really, really focused type of meditation, but in a more creative way. And you carry on shuffling. When you shuffle, okay, this is the important bit. You don't just do your standard card shark shuffling like that. You don't just do that. Instead, you do this, but you take the top bit off and you turn it around. Okay, and you carry on doing that a few times until you feel you've got it totally randomized. Okay, or as best as you can. Okay, just carry on doing it. Make it more and more and more random. And then you design the right spread for the type of question. Realistically, you don't need that many types of spread within your own repertoire. Okay, I've got 3 which I basically use. There's the Celtic Cross, there's the 8-card relationship reading, okay, and then there's a chronological spread. That's more or less all I use, and I can vary it ever so slightly depending upon different situations. So the 8-card relationship spread can become a 10-card relationship spread if there's another individual that I need to take account of. Okay? Or indeed I could take out the middle card of the 8-card relationship spread, take out the short-term, mid-term and long-term future side of things, and just focus in on the here and now between 2 people, turning it into a 4-card relationship reading. If you get my drift. You change your methodology depending upon the questions which is asked and what is required of you to provide an answer. Because the structure of the reading, or the structure of the spread, or the arrangements of the cards becomes part of the variety of answer that you're going to give. Okay? Next you got to think about what's actually coming out in the cards themselves. What kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that kind of stuff as I carry on saying to my customers and people online and on video and all the rest of it. Well, that's the product of you developing an understanding of whatever the symbols are, okay? Now, if you think about it, I could get a book on tarot and I could buy it and I could read it and it would tell me that, I don't know, the moon card stands for mystery, intuition, and romance. How would that help me? Well, what I'd have to do is to go through an even longer process over a longer period of time and expand the understanding of that. I'd have to look at stories or fairy tales where the moon is mentioned. I would have to look at mythology where the moon is mentioned. I'd have to look at different forms of religious ritual where the moon is mentioned and try and work out what the moon means to other people, as in that sort of like silvery round thing in the sky that waxes and wanes, if you get my drift, okay? And then see if I can apply some of the meanings of that to this. And then I can try and look at the history of some of the other symbols and where they may have come from or what they may mean, or which particular cults and cultures the original designer of this particular tarot pack, which I happen to have and happen to use, may have got his ideas from. Okay, was there an influence from Freemasonry? How does Freemasonry interpret 2 different towers? Alright? Maybe there's another meaning to those 2 different towers. Maybe there's a religious meaning which may come out of Judaism, talking about God's justice and mercy, for instance. So maybe there is a legal interpretation to what's happening here, or indeed an interpretation bringing about either war or peace. Okay, there's more to it, and you've got to carry on going through the process of learning and understanding. This is why being a tarot reader for a long period of time can be useful. Okay, some of the meanings that you will have learned may be buried in your mind, because let's say I can't remember what I had for breakfast 3 weeks ago. Okay, I can't remember what I had for breakfast 3 weeks ago. I've got a bit of a varied diet these days, and I don't actually remember. Okay, but there may be things which I will have forgotten about the various interpretations of the meaning of this one particular card. But when you're going through the creative process of trying to, in inverted commas, read it, okay, the different memories and thoughts and the rest of it sometimes get drudged to the surface. You become aware of a meaning that you may have read somewhere, or something you may have seen somewhere, which you had consciously forgotten about. And that becomes part of the process. So whatever it is you've suddenly remembered becomes part of the meaning, which you're then communicating to the client on the basis that it is relevant to the question. So you've got to go through the intellectual process of, is this thing which is popping up inside my mind sufficiently relevant to the question and the situation for me to be able to mention it to the client, and would it provide them with something for their higher good, or for their good, taking into account the complexities of their life situation which they are asking me about at the moment. Alright? Or is there scope for them to misinterpret what I'm saying, and therefore they could act inappropriately, and thus to damage their ability to get happiness, success, achievements, and all the rest of that kind of jazz. Alright? That's where a lot of the ethics comes in, when you're actually doing this stuff. Day in, day out. Okay, it's quite draining. Okay, it's actually quite a hard job to do. And it requires tact, precision, sensitivity, compassion, empathy. And if I don't have those things, I just tend to log off, go for a walk around the garden, have a nice cup of tea, chill out, and then try and come back to normality so that I can carry on doing what's right for these people. Okay? But that's essentially what I do. I do not prime the readings. I will not prime the readings. Not in the tarot show, not when I'm working, not under any circumstances whatsoever. It's not what I do. Okay? And there isn't one singular meaning for any particular card. Okay? So there are some particular cliche meanings which do tend to sort of come up or come to the surface, mentally speaking, when you're doing a reading. And sometimes your client, if they know tarot, will be able to tell you which card you've got in front of you. So this is another reason why why you've got to know this stuff on quite a deep level, as well as the more cliche levels, because you're dealing with people who've got either their own knowledge or their own perceived knowledge of what the cards mean. So you're working intellectually with different forms of intellectual, religious and spiritual ideologies associated with the meanings of tarot cards. Okay? It's complex. That's why you need to be sensitive. Okay, you need to be politically sensitive, religiously sensitive. You got to know a lot, and I don't really consider myself to be blowing my own trumpet when I say I'm not bad at this. Okay, I'm not bad at this. There may be better people in the world, fine. Or there may be some things that I'm better at that other people who say they are better at it are worse at. And that's just the way that life is, so you just accept that. Just carry on, okay? And just pick out a card at random and see if I can spout out some meanings for it. The Seven of Cups, very Venusuvial but very slow. Often speaking about relationships which aren't working out according to plan, but is also speaking about aspiring to reach a goal but not quite getting there. Obstacles being in the way, yes, but not some which is completely stopping progress, but that which is slowing down your progress as you're trying to reach a particular goal. There is a feeling of a form of celebration associated with this card, but there's also a sense of a bitter twist associated with it. Almost as if there's something bad in the air between some of the people who may be going to this one particular event, if there is an event going on. Okay, it's almost like a wedding and a funeral on the same day, or the people who you're going to see or you're involved with have done something wrong which is morally reprehensible or doesn't quite sit right with other people, and so it just there's a feeling of guilt about it as well. Okay, some form of morality which is getting in the way, doing something inappropriately which can impede one's progression towards happiness, as well as to impede one's progression towards one's goals. Okay, So if it's not guilt, there's something immoral or inappropriate about it. Or if it's not immoral and inappropriate, it's just a question of slow progress. But there's also the positive aspect of trying to do what's right when the circumstances aren't quite right. Okay, or when you're not quite right for the circumstances. And that's the tip of the iceberg of some of the meanings of this one particular card, the way it's expressed through the artistry of Lady Freda Harris, and of course the mysticism of the great and very infamous Aleister Crowley. This is probably the best pack of tarot cards you can get. It is, of course, the Aleister Crowley Book of Thoth Tarot. It's not, high power and scary. There's nothing scary about it. It's just it's a load of works of art. Okay. If art was dangerous, you would never go to the Tate Modern. You know what I mean? Chill. And happy tarot reading.